Simple, pour in fixed blown head gaskets, permanent repair in minutes. Well, it's been 2 weeks now since I put that splodge in the cooling system to try and fix the head gasket. So for the very last time, when I get out of the car after this 4-mile run to work, I'm going to check and see if everything is okay. If it is, I promise I will not bang on about it no more. So originally, this was building up pressure in the cooling system. If I'd have done like a 4-mile run like I've done now, the cooling fan would be on like full flipping blast. The hose would be really, top hose would be really tight with the pressure. But now, that's absolute minimal. Yeah, voila. Excellent. So if Captain America was made out of a bottle, why can't what comes out of a bottle fix his head gasket? And the answer is, yes it can. This freaking Zafira, this job has seriously hacked me off. I don't even like Vauxhalls, for God's sake. But anyway, regardless of what it is, the car that nobody wants to own, the car that Jeremy Clarkson said, this is for people who have given up on life. Anyway, let's get on with it. This is the oil cooler, okay? It all comes as one assembly. It was leaking coolant. I could see the coolant dripping, you know, from underneath the oil cooler. So we got a new one. There's a pipe that goes on here from like the water pump, comes around and pushes into here with an O-ring. And quite literally, this O-ring, which should be a flexible rubber O-ring, it just breaks. Do you see that? It just snaps. Do you hear that snap?
Yes.
It is so brittle. Do you know why? I'll tell you why. Because the whole thing, Vauxhall, in their wisdom, decided to put the oil cooler with pipes with O-rings on them, rubber O-rings, behind the exhaust manifold, where it gets incredibly hot. That's why it's gone hard like that and just breaks up and starts pissing out water. That's why, because they put it in a stupid place. Anyway, let's get on, shall we? And so for the one person on the planet who actually might care, if you have to fit an oil cooler to one of these Zafiras with the turbo, you don't have to take the manifold and turbo off. You can leave it in place. All you've got to take off is the pussy and the air conditioning pump. Have you seen the frigging state of me? By the way, just for those of you out there who like a bit of a copper slippy, look at that. There's very good reason for this. We're working on Jaguar. And more to the point, it's an 08 plate Jaguar. And guess what we're changing? Yeah! That's the rear suspension arm. The bush is literally going donk, 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 donk. The only saving grace on this job is that all these bolts from 2008 have survived without seizing themselves to the metal collars of the bushes. So, job's a freaking good one, mate. Yeah, that's tight. Oh, I'll give him a spanner back. There, one offside rear suspension arm fitted to a Jaguar XF. It was okay, apart from this bolt. Didn't want to, the bush here, the metal collar didn't want to line up properly. It was going at a pissed angle and it was a pain to get in, to hammer it in the end. But we're in. All I've got now left is the shockers or the bolt, but I've got a new shock coming for this car, so I'll leave that undone for the time being. But so far, it's looking pretty good. Remember that Ford Focus we done last week, where the windscreen washer pump was blocked with a grolly? Well, look at this one. The pump isn't working. There's nothing when I press the button, and the wires in there look well corroded. So I've got a new pump coming. Luckily, I can get the pump out from underneath the wheel arch liner because the locker here will not undo. And the actual keyway to undo it looks a piece of crap, like it's going to break. That's really tight, so that's someone else's problem. Anyway, that little filter on this one's blocked as well. And look at that, look in there, that little stream of water coming out the filter. I'm now going to put it out and have the Niagara Falls. Ah! Ain't this job just lovely, right? You can get showered in shit and piss every single day. Look at that. Yummy. Cut. Well, it's now late Tuesday afternoon and I am still on the Zafira, which should have been quite an easy job, but obviously things just aren't going right on it. The oil feed pipe, which goes from your oil filter housing to the turbo, started to seep a little bit of oil. So I removed it and looked at the O-rings, if the camera will focus, and they don't look great. So I thought, you know what, I know what I'm going to do. I'll order a brand spanking new pipe from Vauxhall. So that's what I did. But guess what? When the new pipe comes, can you see what's missing? There's a flipping seal missing off it. The original one has 2 O-rings on it. The brand spanking new one only has 1 O-ring. We go back down to Vauxhall. They ring up the factory or wherever they get their flipping pipes from. They check their stock, and apparently another 50, a batch of 50 of them pipes have only got 1 seal. So they've been put together in the factory wrong. So they've had to order just the seal now. So I've got to wait another day. So hopefully when that comes, that'll be that job done. But I'm not holding my breath. Surprisingly enough, the old Jaguar XF, I thought this was going to be a right pig to work on, but it's actually gone okay. I've got the shock absorber out, which bolts up in there. And as I said earlier, the bottom suspension arm, everything come apart lovely. I've got the shocker out now, and it's all there, ready for the new shock absorber. The reason I'm changing that shock absorber, it failed the MOT test because this bottom bush has got a lot of movement in it. It's kind of like, yeah, when it's on the car you can actually see the movement in that bush. So once I put the new shocker on it, put that back together, but you know what? It took me longer to remove all the crap out of his boot than it did to actually flipping remove the shock absorber from the car. Well, for the next 6 hours, I'll be carrying out MOT tests. Nothing to see here. Do you know what I find really annoying when I'm MOT testing? These cars that have the push button start, I need to turn the wheels lock to lock, but the flipping steering lock is always on. Conventional car, you'll just leave the key in the ignition or auxiliary, but on these bloody things, you got to come in, press the button before you can turn the frigging wheel. Well, I can inform you that this a lovely 65 plate Nissan Qashqai with just over 90k on the clock has only failed on one item, which is the ball joint in the anti-roll bar drop link. Just there. It's not that bad, but it's bad enough. One MOT failure sheet, anti-roll bar drop link. Do you know what? I still remember the days before MOT computerisation. I'm in two minds whether it is better back then or whether it is now. It's kind of easier these days. Less writing to do, especially if you get a car in with a whole shit ton of things wrong with it. It's definitely easier when you just type it out on the computer, or the answers are already there for you, just click on them. But yeah, I kind of do miss the old days. I'll tell you what is easier though. On our mobile phones, we have this app. So when it comes to printing out the actual invoice, we haven't got to write it out no more. We just tap a few buttons on our app and it prints the invoice out for us. Sweet. Anyway, I suppose I better get on. That's my first MOT of the day, which was a failure. We shall see what the next one brings. I would like to find something really friggin' interesting, a horror story. I don't think that's going to happen somehow. Oh, by the way, one last thing. I remember a time when all the talk was about you won't be able to go a day in your life without using a computer. Well, I have to admit, that certainly came true, didn't it? And also, do you remember the new millennium, the year 2000, midnight? It was all this big hoo-ha, the world was going to end. Oh my God, we're all going to crash and burn and die. I wonder how many yuppie twats got that one wrong. The nuts on undoing. Plan B. Ingenuity. Hold on. There she is. Yeah, man. You see, that's how to deal with a track rod anti-roll bar link thread. That's the nut's never going to come off, obviously. It just spins. No matter how much you put a pair of mole grips or something in the end, it's not happening, is it, Tyler? It's not happening.
No, it is not. No.
So hammer, mole grips are your friend, but also angle grinder is a very big friend. Just remember that.
There she goes.
Oh my God. What am I doing? This is the glorious job. Exhaust heat shield. The customer says, I don't know where it came from. Well, obviously on your car somewhere, that's what I'm going to have to use. These flipping tin shields, they just rot out. They rot out and then they just fall off. So rather than buy a new one, place a big washer there and put the nut back on. I've had to clean all the threads up because they were flipping rusty. Luckily that one's come undone. 3 more to go. So I give the menial tasks to the Millennium.
This is not a menial task. This is some hard crap. No room for your hands.
Well, you got it on. Tin shields in place.
With the help of 2 others, honourable mention.
You're doing a good job, Tyler.
Cheers.
Saves me doing it.
Gen X.
So the driver's headlight doesn't work. Needs a new bulb, obviously. but you have to unbolt the coolant expansion tank to move it out of the way to get access to the back of the headlight. So I'm going to leave it to Tyler and see if he can do it or whether he needs any assistance. But before he can do the headlight bulb, he's having a bit of fun with a Qashqai smelly filter. It's all right, Mark, you're famous now.
Am I?
You've saved Tyler the embarrassment of fitting this bulb. But then again, I have to say, I was going to say you had to remove that bottle, that 10ml, and get the bottle out of the way to get your hand in there, but you've done it without doing that, so well done.
That's because I got smaller hands.
Yeah, that filament is definitely broken, if you can see that. Bye-bye. Tyler,
It's all done.
how many mechanics does it take to fit a light bulb?
There should be one.
It's okay, Mark's got the hang of it. He's saved the day.
That's it.
You know, light bulbs on these modern cars, they can be very, very testing. You could really lose your shit having to fit just a light bulb. Especially some of these where you've got to go through underneath the wheel arch liner.
No, like the Mondeos.
Kind of Renault Meganes spring to mind. This is actually quite an easy one.
Mondeo, you take off the front bumper.
Yeah, well, yeah, like the Mark V Mondeo. The cars that Halfords won't even change a light bulb in case they scratch the paint. We used to just rip the bumpers off. The paint's flexible, it never breaks.
Right.
You have to put it up against the wall to make sure the beam pattern's right.
Well, we'll check the washers first.
Because I'm the MOT tester.
Do you have washers?
Right, the washers work. Well, it's a woman driver, obviously. That's why the washer bottle's empty. We've got to test the beam against the wall to make sure the bulb's in right, because it's quite easy to get them wrong. They look good to me. Well done, Mark. Perfect job. You can do all the bulbs now.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Well, we have a lovely Ford KA in for an MOT test. It's a 55 plate, which is 2005. This one is actually one of the better ones. However, yeah, oh, it's still in one piece. The first thing I look at on these KAs is the outer seals, because these cars were absolute frigging rock boxes. Oh my God, look at the rusticles. It's still solid. No hole there, but what the hell they made these out of, I don't know. It's all flooding back to me now. Definitely flooding back. Very, how can I put it gently? Crunchy. Especially like in here. I reckon that's had a repair done in there already. Yeah. I bet that's already been repaired. The same this side. There's a metal plate been fitted up in there. Yeah, that's all been, that's got some sealant over it, covering a plate, a repair. Oh yes indeed. I remember these very well. Where the subframe bolts onto the chassis just there, they love to rot out. I've seen these with holes all the way around that chassis part. This one is still quite solid, although it's looking a little bit on the rusty side. Unfortunately, this outer trim piece on the passenger front wing is kind of all flappy, and God almighty, underneath, oh my God, crunchy, oh no, dear oh dear. Well, the KA on the brake meter, the passenger rear brake is not working. Nothing. 0. This is a 2002 Ford Mondeo Mark III, and oh! Listen, I didn't use a hammer, I used finger and thumb. Well, I didn't even use my thumb, I just used my forefinger. That, unfortunately for the owner, is a failure, and this car is just getting worse and worse. These brake pipes are definitely dog rough, rotten. It's actually ballooned a little bit, so I think we're gonna fail that. Oh, shall we add an anti-roll bar drop link to the list? And I haven't got far from the drop link as I come over to the flexible brake hose. That's screwy screwedy. Oh dear. Somebody's actually taken the time to put some brake pipes and replace all the ones at the back above the axle. But they should have changed the ones all down to the front as well, which are rotten. Somehow I think this car is going to the breakers yard. Now that driver's side rear brake hose has failed, what do you reckon to the passenger rear? Shall we have a look? not as bad, but yeah, that's a definite failure. Oh dear, oh dear. Drop link? Yep, that one's gone as well. Gee, flipping heck. I remember having to replace these bushes many times, but they'll only fail the MOT if you can get excessive movement in them, which I can't. So, crunchy, crunchy, crunchy. This car is not looking good for the customer. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh my God. At least the inner seals look okay for an 02 plate. This, what's it, like 23 years old now? It's a classic. It's a classic, you hear. How about this outer seal? Is this one intact? Little few rusticles on the door, but yeah, that's pretty solid. Driver's front wheel, the brake pipe is corroded, and also, ta-ra, look at the CV boot. It's got a little mouth, you know. Do you know what? I'm going to be on the computer half the flipping evening trying to sort all this lot out. The front drop link, the boot is completely split. Around to the passenger front wheel, I noticed that the brake hose wasn't clipped into its bracket, and on further examination, just there, it's been chafed out. So that's been out of its bracket for quite a while. So, oh dear, it's not looking good for the owner of this car. And as if things couldn't get any worse, ta-ra! That is what you call an excessively leaking shock absorber. You know, I'm not even sure this car is worth salvaging. But I'll tell you what is. Check out the upholstery. Electric. Proper. PV, I mean leather. That's leather. That's a gear as well. I love the steering wheel cover. Duratec HE. Actually sounds quite nice. Yeah, I should think this car's it's good for scrap value. The engine will be worth a few bob. Windscreen's got a nice big crack in it. Right, this KA that we failed yesterday for zero effort on the passenger rear brake. We've just taken the drum off, the shoes look good, the wheel cylinder looks good. Putting our foot on the brake, the wheel cylinder is doing absolutely nothing. So all we're doing now is loosening off the metal brake pipe on top of the brake hose, and that's loose now. Go and stick your foot on the brake. With that brake pipe loosened, that's lovely and loose. In actual fact, I'll tell you what, while I'm here, I'll take the pipe right off. Now put your foot on the brake nice and hard. There's nothing. Go on, press it as hard. Try and put it through the floor. Yeah. There is absolutely zero brake fluid there, and the brake pedal is absolutely rock solid. Just pump the pedal. Give it a load of pumps, and then hold pressure. Yeah, zero. Okay, so that says to me the actual ABS unit, once again, we had this last week on the Corsa. Now we've got it on a Ford KA. That's the ABS unit bollocks. The valve is stuck in the ABS unit. So that'll have to be taken off and sent off to ECU testing. They're blasting out Michael Jackson in there. Beat it. That's why I'm stood out here. This spring here is really like short coils. The tool we got here are for bigger springs, wider ones. I don't know where the smaller ones have gone. So this is all a little bit dodgy. Yeah, I've managed to force the spring in there, so it shouldn't come out. But yeah. At least the nut's on now. So at least it can't blow off and take my head off through the roof. But there again, would I even notice? That was an absolute pain in the ass. I literally had Tyler with a trolley jack underneath the bottom of the shock absorber, jacking it up very gently while I wriggled this around to get them four studs to line up. Oh. Flipping heck, I'm actually sweating now. Yeah! Holy shit. That, it didn't want to line up. Freaking not happy. I need a holiday. Well, finally, I have got my seal for the oil feed pipe. Over you come. Done. Let's hope this seals it. Well, the pipe is in place. Ignored all the smoke, just all the WD-40 and God only knows what else I've been using over here to try and free off these studs which weren't coming out anyway. But the turbo feed pipe's on. I've revved it a few times and there's no leak, which is good. So I'll give it a road test, and if that's all fine then fantastic. I'll be glad to see the back of this car. Tell you what, whoa, this Zafira, it's certainly got a bit of go in it with the old turbo. I still wouldn't own one, not a chance, but yeah, it does go well. All good. So, just one last thing, something I've not done in a long time. In the trash can. Well, what do you know? Guess what I've had delivered? That's an ABS module for the Vauxhall Corsa, so I'm going to bolt it on and I reckon it's going to fix it. Just a few finishing touches. That's it. Bolted on. Just to prove my point, originally when I undone that bleed nipple, there was no fluid coming out of it. I took the hose off the caliper, there was no fluid coming out of it. I bled the actual ABS unit. I've just loosened this off and you watch. Instantly it's dripping brake fluid. That's how it should be when that's loose. That should be dripping out. If I put my foot on the brake, that would squirt out of there. Yeah, I know it's going to be all right. So this is just a formality. Thanks. But yeah, we had the KA, with the same problem, but as a back brake. This one was the front brake. So the ABS pump's all done. It's bleeding the fluid through properly now. All you got to do is drive in a straight line and put your foot on the brake, and before it would have really veered to the right, but now it should brake in a straight line. And literally all you'd have to do would drive about 15 miles an hour across the forecourt and put your foot on the brake and you'd notice it. That's the only reason I noticed it in the first place. I was just going to park it up.
Well, that's forward, man. Perfectly straight.
Yeah, look, hands off the steering wheel as well.
Safe driving.
Well, we've just saved this car from... the woman was driving it around. The owner of this car was driving it around and didn't even mention it.
It's better than most cars I drive.
Yeah. This is a lovely little car. Whoever buys this will be wetting their knickers. They won't want to get out of it and they'll want to drive to Scotland.
Scotland's the place to be.
Oh, there's a Tesla. Electric, get away from that quick before it catches on fire.
Tesla's no match for this thing.
So that's it. That's the end of the video. So it's goodbye from me and it's goodbye from Scotland.
From Scotland.
he's Scottish. He's a good old boy really, but he's Scottish. You've got to allow him that.
He's a good one. At least the brakes work out.
Anyway, till the next time. Car. Nissan Qashqai. This is bonus clip. The guy's just come in late Saturday afternoon. He was complaining the car was making a bump, 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 bump as he was driving along. I don't really want to film him because he might not want to be involved in it. But literally, I have just looked on the car, putting it on the ramp to see if there's anything wrong with it. And it turns out 4 of the wheel bolts on both the driver's side wheels were missing. The only wheel bolt holding the wheels on the driver's side was the locker. So I've literally had to take 2 wheel bolts off the passenger wheels to put them onto the driver's wheels. So he's got 3 bolts on each wheel now, so he can get himself home. and order up some new wheel bolts, because you won't get none today because it's Saturday and everything's shut. But yeah, and I took the car up the road to listen to the noise, and I'm thinking, flipping heck, the wheel could have literally fallen off, come off quite easily if that locker had broke. Unbelievable. We don't know why the wheel bolts have gone missing. We don't know, unless someone tried to nick his wheels. Anyway, that's it.